Look, an intruder! Hold! How did you get up here, human?
I climbed the cliffs.
That is not possible. No one has solved the cliffs of logic in several centuries. And if the cliffs were to be solved, it would certainly not be by a human.
I didn't mean to trespass. I only wanted to visit this beautiful island.
No visitors have been welcome on the Isle of the Sacred Mountain in years. Not since the Red and White Queens had spies in the guise of friendly visitors steal our island's sacred golden fleece. But we will not display such foolish trust again. You will have to answer to Lord Azure and Lady Ariel. They will determine what will be done with you. I can assure you, it will not be pleasant.
With what trickery did you master the cliffs of logic and reach the city of the Winged Ones?
Only the magic of clear thought, my lord. I meant no harm.
The cliffs of logic. It is the sacred oracle's prophecy, Azure.
Yes, Ariel. It is lucky for you, human, that climbing the cliffs of logic is part of a prophecy that I cannot ignore. We have just been ordered by Wazir Al-Hazred himself to dispose of any strangers that might land on our fair isle. But the prophecy would have a different fate befall you.
The prophecy predicts that whosoever climbs the cliffs of logic will defeat the Minotaur. The Minotaur has violated our sacred catacombs and eats our young in sacrifice. Our own daughter, Lady Celeste, was taken there only this morning as his most recently demanded offering.
A dilemma, then. Whom shall I obey in regards to your fate? The Oracle or the Crown? But since Al-Hazred did not dictate how I was to dispose of intruders, and since you cannot possibly survive the catacombs, your imprisonment there should serve both purposes quite admirably.
I will not resist you in this, my lord. I shall do my best to save your daughter.
First, I must tell you that the catacombs are a labyrinth of rooms, a place of exceeding danger. You will need many tools and clear wits to survive it.
I am ready.
Very well. My guards will take you there now. You seem courageous enough, but the catacombs will determine how brave you really are.
Why did you tell Lord Azure you were ready and willing to face the catacombs? No one is ever ready, and only a fool could be willing.
And you are far wiser, I suppose, to leave a maiden to die? To not fight this plague on your own people?
Bravery and suicide are two different things, human. You will have a chance to renounce your choice soon enough, when you lay trembling under the Minotaur's hooves.
We shall see. Thanks for the escort.
We only escort you to your death. May the fates make it quick so that you do not have to scream long.
The catacomb's entrance door is locked from the outside by the Winged One's guards. It seems that leaving the catacombs by that door is not an option. Alexander is standing in the catacombs near the portal to the outside world. Unfortunately, the portal is locked. The main door to the catacombs leads to the outside world. Unfortunately, it's locked. The door is locked, and Alexander can't force his way out. He'll need to conquer the maze-like catacombs to escape. Alexander is standing in one of the many chilling rooms of the catacombs. The maze is laid out in a seemingly random way, yet Alexander knows that there must be a way of conquering its secrets. The walls of the catacombs are made of massive stone tiles. That's the north wall of the room. The floor of the catacombs, like the walls, is comprised of massive stone tiles. It feels cold and hard beneath Alexander's feet. All of the doorways in the catacombs look alike, giving Alexander no clue as to their order or purpose. A torch flickers on the wall and casts shadows on the dank stones of the catacombs. Niches in the wall form stone burial beds. Ancient bones lie crumbling on the unyielding rock. Alexander sees nothing of interest here. It just looks like every other stone surface in the catacombs to Alexander. The walls of the catacombs are rough and cold to the touch. Alexander hears the distant sounds of a wild animal somewhere in the maze of rooms. Alexander sees nothing of interest on the floor. The doorway is unobstructed and requires no manipulation. Just walk through it. The torch is too high to reach. Besides, carrying around the heavy blazing torch would only slow Alexander down. Alexander examines the stone shelf and the ancient bones, but finds nothing except the dust of the grave. The cell-like rooms of the catacombs hold their tongues and do not reveal their secrets. The walls do not respond. The floor chooses not to give Alexander the scoop as to its secrets, if any. Perhaps Alexander should determine what's on the other side of the doorway before calling through it. The torch does not reply. The occupant of the stone bed is beyond the reach of Alexander's voice. The remains of several unfortunate souls haunt the room. These bones seem more recent than the ancient catacomb bones that Alexander has seen so far. Perhaps they were victims of the Minotaur, or perhaps they died while wandering lost in the maze. 3 of the skeletons are completely intact. A lone skull lies on the ground among the skeletons. Where the skull came from is a mystery, since the other remains seem to have their skulls intact. The lost souls cannot hear Alexander. Those jawbones have long been silent. Alexander doesn't want to disturb that skeleton. He seems to have all his bones intact, and it'd be a shame to break up the set. Alexander picks up the skull. Alexander is carrying a human skull. Alexander examines the skull and feels a sense of his own mortality. The skull is as silent as the grave. Two heads are better than one, but Alexander is already carrying the skull. That skeleton already has its skull, and it isn't in need of another. The skull might come in handy. Alexander decides not to leave it on the floor. Why beat your head against the wall? Or someone else's, for that matter.